Welcome to a glorious day here by the Black Sea. We're at the Sochi Autodrome for what could be a really exciting Grand Prix weekend. The final alterations are being made in the garages as the teams prepare to send their cars out for the first time. Now then, Anthony Davidson, we've had some really strategic races over the past couple of years, thanks to the current three-tyre compound system, and of course the groundwork for all those strategies comes from the free practice sessions like this one. So what do you think of the current tyre regulations?
Well, you have basic checks first of all. You know, is the car working correctly? What are the track conditions like? And you'll be chasing that as the session goes on. Things like that. Then you start getting into the nitty-gritty of it all, and they become more like test sessions where it's all about gathering new data, testing components, tweaking the setup and so on. So there's only so much actual practice that these drivers need. Most of them will be plenty familiar enough with the track layout, either from previous experience or from the simulator.
What's up YouTube land, Xeno Gaming here with another installment of our F1 2019 career mode. Here today we are at the Russian Grand Prix. Looking forward to this Grand Prix with the recent developments of our cars. You can see we're now the 4th place car in the grid, but take that with a grain of salt, because you can see how tight that midfield pack is at the minute, and one upgrade can send you from the bottom to the top of this little group between Toro Rosso, McLaren, Racing Point and Haas and Alfa Romeo. So 5 teams all really tightly battled, so really on any given weekend the driver can really make a difference in the car, and you can see where Renault is there almost back to where Williams is. So anyway, let's get into qualifying.
Welcome back to Sochi. We're about to be joining the action down in the pit lane as the cars get ready to embark on their qualifying runs. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction, and over the course of a lap it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now and it never gets any easier.
Welcome to qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix. Should be a good session here for us today. Should be able to get our Q1 quite easily. It should be a little bit better than what it was last time out in Singapore, where I made a bit of an error. So hopefully that doesn't happen here today and we can just progress nicely through to Q2. Anyway, here's our first lap in Q number 1, as Perez at the minute has the fastest time, but that's because he was one of the first to come across the line. As now we come through the last corner, try to get on the power. The line's just there, and we set a 1 minute 33.3, so not a bad lap time to start with. That has us in 12th place at the minute, but now we come through on our second run in Q2. Didn't want to chance it this time, so use the second set of tyres, and we are through comfortably into Q2 on that in 10th place. So that's a good start for us to get through to Q2. Better than where it was last time out in Singapore, as our teammate Albon also progressed through to Q2, which is a good sign for the team. It shows that we have made genuine improvements to the car. George Russell with an outstanding qualifying for Williams, being 16th and able to beat Romain Grosjean in 17th. The 2 Renaults are still really disappointing in 19th and 18th, with Kubica coming at the rear of the field. Anyway, now moving through onto Q2. This is our first run in Q2. As you can see, we've got Valtteri Bottas following us on track, so that hopefully he doesn't interfere in our lap as we come into turn 4, as we lock up the front right wheel slightly. So that's cost us a bit of time on our lap. That's cost us a few tenths for sure, so that's not an ideal start through to Q2. But yeah, Bottas is getting closer and closer. Wasn't sure if I should. He wasn't really close enough at the start when I started my hot lap in the 3rd sector to let him through. So as we have a little twitch there at the exit of that corner, it's going to cost us a little bit of time as well. He wasn't really close enough to let him go through, so he's just going to have to follow us, and hopefully he doesn't interfere with our lap. As now we come through to end the second sector. And this is the toughest braking zone on the track, as it's a left kink into a right, but manage it nicely this time as Stroll sets the fastest lap of the session so far, but that will be beaten shortly by Devon Butler with a 1 minute 33.1, so good time for our old rival as we now come into the last 2 corners. It's such a easy circuit to drive. This is unrewarding really. It's just hit your apex, drive out, as we set a 1 minute 33.1 as well, but that's quickly beaten by Bottas's 32.2, so good time for us. We were able to beat Butler and Stroll, so that's positive. As we now come towards the end of our second lap in Q2 and the end of Q2, as we set the purple middle sector, so we are flying on this lap. We're 9th place at the minute, so we're going to need this lap to make sure to secure our spot in Q3, as we are behind Devon Butler, so he's improved his lap time. There goes Lando Norris on to 10th. We're down to 12th here, so we definitely need a time to get into Q3. As now we come into the last corner, we're going to improve here massively, and we're up to 7th place. So good luck to win the session there. Got it right this time, no mistakes, and that sees us progress through to Q3 with a really good lap time, purple middle sector. Don't know where that came from. That was really good to see. Couldn't believe it, to be honest. Still 7th place though. Couldn't beat the top 6, but Weber, Perez and Raikkonen all through, so the Alfa Romeo looks strong this weekend. Looks like the strongest car combination around this track by the looks of it. Butler and Norris miss out in 11th and 12th. Magnussen 13th. Stroll disappointing compared to his teammate once again in 14th. And Albon in 15th, which is disappointing for him. We were able to get 7th, so there's definitely more time in there for Alex to extract from the car that he wasn't able to. So we progress through to Q3, which we will get to now. So here we are in Q3. We only have one run in Q3 because we only have one set of tyres left. So here it is. This is the last sector. We missed a little bit deep into that corner. That's going to cost us a little bit of time. Hopefully we still are able to put in a nice lap here. Hamilton currently on pole position. The Mercedes finally living up to what the graph says about them, what they are on paper. As we come through the last corner to set a lot time. Not sure what the time is, but it is P10. So a bit of an anticlimax there. Didn't hook up that lap compared to the lap in Q2. I was 3/10 slower than my Q2 lap time. Well, what I noticed, that wouldn't have beaten Lucas Weber anyway, because he did a 1 minute 32.4. So really quick time from Weber. He was really quick, much quicker than Raikkonen. So he's going to be quick in the race. Hamilton though with pole position, he with Vettel second, Bottas third, Leclerc, Verstappen and Gasly. So let's get into the race.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. It's time to go racing then in the Sochi Autodrome, where the long run down to the heavy braking zone at turn 2 is one of 2 DRS zones around this 3.6-mile circuit. The other, of course, down into turn 13. 18 corners make up a lap here today, with an average speed somewhere in the region of 130 miles an hour. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Now, can I talk to you about Sebastian Vettel? They've had to change their gearbox. It's never a good start to a Grand Prix when, right off the bat, you have to contend with a grid penalty.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always better to take some pain now than parking it up halfway through the Grand Prix. Let's just hope they can put that new gearbox to good use and get the results they're looking for.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Weber, Sebastian Vettel. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Perez, Raikkonen, the captain, Butler and Lando Norris, Magnussen, Stroll, Alexander Albon and Verstappen, Russell, Gasly, Roman Grosjean and Daniel Ricciardo. Hülkenberg and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
We've qualified above where we expected to be, so try your best to hold on to this position in the race.
Welcome to the Russian Grand Prix. Here we are, ready in a really strong spot on the grid. The two Red Bulls have grid penalties, so that's positive for us, as we will start from P8 today. So should be a good race. Vettel's also got a grid penalty, so because of the two Red Bulls, it hasn't hurt him so much. So he's only in 5th place there. And Verstappen and Gasly coming from the back should be interesting. So yeah, 5 red lights. And it's go for the Grand Prix of Russia, as a great start for Devon Butler there. Not such a great start for us. Magnussen around the outside. Norris down the inside. He's actually hit us a little bit. Forcefully squeezed his way through. We didn't really have much way to go on the left anyway with Magnussen there, but we dive it around the outside and we gain a lot of time there, and we're back up into 8th place. We couldn't quite get right around the outside. Here comes Butler trying to go around the outside of the long sweeping left-hander, and will he be able to make it stick? He's definitely there. He's there, and there's not much we can do about it. So Butler's through, and we're going to have to slot him behind into 9th place. And we haven't had a great run off the corner. And George Russell, from out of nowhere in the Williams, he started way back down there and probably, I think, 15th. I think the only position he got was from the penalty. I'm not sure exactly where he started, but what a start for George Russell up to 9th. He's gained about 6-7 spots, so unbelievable. Kudos to him in the Williams to be up in 9th place. So haven't really, seen much of George Russell this season, but good on him for battling hard and getting into 9th place. So dream start for him. We're back down to 10th place, so we've lost 2 spots this opening lap. 1 to Butler, 1 to Russell, so that's unfortunate for us. And we're going to have to just focus on the 2 Mercedes will lead out in front. So this is their chance to gain points on Ferrari today, especially Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton's a little bit further behind with all the poor luck he's had this year, so I don't think he has a chance at the championship. You never know. We'll see what happens as he leads the opening lap. He won in Italy 2 races ago, so we'll see what he can do today. We're here in George Russell's slipstream. Can we get past? There's no DRS. We're going into overtake mode to try and make it happen. We're going to have a little look. We're not quite close enough. We're looking, but Russell defends the position actually, so he felt a bit of pressure. Can we get him into turn 3? No, we're not close enough. We didn't have the run or momentum off the corner to have a go into turn 3 and possibly turn 4. So we're going to have to follow George Russell around here, who we know is in a much slower car than what we are and what everyone else is. And we've had another poor run off that corner. Magnussen this time has a look up our inside, and we managed to keep him behind. Now he's going to have another look around the outside. But leaving the space, he actually hits us, and no harm done. But yeah, Kevin Magnussen a bit fiery here in this second lap of this Russian Grand Prix. So we now move on to the 3rd lap. We are in Russell's DRS here on the back straight. This time, DRS is very powerful, and we have a slipstream. We have a great run. We're going to move to the inside, past George Russell into 9th place. He tries to fight back under brakes, but we have the position in the corner and take away P9. Now, moving on to lap 5, we are starting to catch this little battle pack that's forming. Lucas Weber's breaking away, but Raikkonen and Perez going at it for position number 6, and Devon Butler is waiting in the wings to pounce any opportunity, as are we, with George Russell who's still hanging on behind us. So Russell really giving it a good go here today in the Williams, looking to score some points. I believe he has not scored any points yet this year. I might be wrong, I can't really remember at this stage. But as we get a much better run than Butler off the corner, he was a little bit defending the corner. Now he's really defending, and he's a bit out of position here. And we have another run at that Butler. We're going to look, but he's still in the middle of the track, a bit undecisive of what he wants to do, but no opportunities on that time around. As we now move to the end of lap 5, start of lap 6, we really have an opportunity here. We lose the back end, a little bit too eager on the throttle. Now we're going to be under pressure from George Russell behind, and he has got that Mercedes engine. That Williams, I think, is still ranked 3rd in power rankings, but engine power rankings. But anyway, nothing happened there. We were able to hold on. Now moving into lap 8, as Devon Butler once again defending the position, feeling the need to go defensive into that corner, and this time we have a bit of a run, but he closes the door on us. Luckily we don't make contact, but now we're able to really pressure him. He's got to still defend the position, and we have got DRS. He's not so close to the back of Kimi Räikkönen, who Perez has finally got past, and we lose the back end a little bit, not that badly this time. We're really close. We're right under that rear wing. We pull out. We've got the momentum here. Even though he's got DRS, we had the speed from having a direct slipstream, and now we managed to just go down the inside, squeeze him out the edge of the corner, and that is P8 for us. As now we move on to lap 10, and we were supposed to come in lap 11, but decided to go lap 10, 1 lap early, to get an undercut on these guys, and hopefully pounce them in the pit stops. So we're going to come in, put on the soft tyres. Tyre wear is not an issue around this track. You could probably come in for soft tyres on lap 1 and finish the end of the race, to be honest. Not soft tyres, sorry, medium tyres. As we now move in to the pit lane. This is a bold strategy. We've got plenty of energy. I've been managing the energy really well on the fuel, so we've actually saved a bit of fuel around this track, and we put in a pretty good lap. We managed to get ahead of Räikkönen and Butler, but not Perez. Well, Butler were already ahead. Magnussen's come out behind, but Perez is still ahead of us, so that's a little bit disappointing. And I saw the McLaren ahead on track, and I thought that was Devon Butler, and Kimi Räikkönen as well. I thought that was ahead. That McLaren is actually Lando Norris, who had power issues in this Grand Prix. He was at the back. He dropped to the back because he had some sort of issue with his car. As now we move on to lap 14, and we are finally getting past Sergio Perez as we move into P6. But yeah, that Alfa Romeo car ahead was actually indeed Lucas Weber, who was a little bit ahead of the pack. But now on lap 15, Sergio Perez is coming back at us. He managed to stay within the DRS, and now he's got an opportunity to pass us back down into turn 1, and we let him go. That's actually turn 2. I think this is turn 1, this little corner here. But now lap 16, very next lap, we have the DRS and we fire back past Perez, so it's a bit of a Mickey Mouse game at the minute. And then lap 17 comes, and Perez once again in our DRS, right in our slipstream. We weren't able to pull away enough of a gap, and he passes us once again. So a little bit of back and forth between us and Perez, and we're going to have to find a way to get past. We now move into lap 18. I decide to go for it. We got the energy. I'm putting it into hot lap and rich to absolutely put in the lap. We're close enough to pass Perez, and hopefully we're going to stay in these modes for the whole lap to try and pull away. We're going to easily pass Perez. He closes the door a little bit. We have enough room to go down the inside, get back to the racing line, and now we absolutely need to put in a lap. We go a little bit deep into turn 1, almost turn around the car. Now Perez is going to have an opportunity into turn 4 to overtake us, but not quite close enough. So now this is where we really have to make our money today. We have to nail this lap to pull away from Perez, so he's out of the DRS. Because if he's out of the DRS, we have a pretty similar pace, and we probably maybe a little bit faster even, and can probably pull away. Just got to make sure he's out of that DRS, and because he keeps just towing back towards. It's really frustrating when you know you're quicker than the driver, but he's able to stay in. But as you can see, we are pulling away from him on this lap, so that's positive news for us, as we are also catching Lucas Weber hopefully ahead. He's only a couple of seconds ahead. There's 8 laps to go. That's the next target. As you can see, we're now definitely putting in a bit of a gap to Perez, and we've put in a purple middle sector, so we are absolutely flying. Can we set the fastest lap of this race now? That wasn't even a thought to start the lap. This was just a tactic to try and pull away from Perez, put in an absolute flyer, and we are doing that as of now. And we are also now potentially could steal a point in this Grand Prix, possibly, with coming through the last corner. We've closed invisibly on Weber. We've pulled away from Perez, and yes, we do set the fast lap of the race, 1 minute 35.827. So really good second and third sectors help us pull in the fastest lap of this Grand Prix. And now yellow flags in the background, and it's Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen is out of this Grand Prix. Disappointing for Alfa Romeo to lose one of the cars when they were in a point scoring position, so that's disappointing for Kimi. Now moving on to lap 23. Max Verstappen has sort of engine issues, so that's not good for Max. As now moving on to lap 25, just showing how we've pulled away from Perez, but we're about a second and a half, 2 seconds, but we're still about 2 seconds away from Weber, just can't close that gap. Now moving on to lap 27, we've pulled away from Perez a little bit more, but we haven't been able to close in on Weber any further, and that really is unfortunate. It really is unfortunate, as Lewis Hamilton takes away our fastest lap on the last lap of the Grand Prix as well. He gets the win here in Russia. It's his third win of the season, so good on Lewis Hamilton. Bottas cleans up a 1-2 for Mercedes. Close finish between the two Ferraris in third and fourth. I'm not sure which order they finished in. As Lucas Weber is going to come home for a fantastic 5th place. We come home for a 6th place, and with the two Red Bulls out of it today, 6th is the best we could do.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Some amazing talents out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I'll probably go for Pierre Gasly. The team did a good job with the strategy to put him in amongst the pack, but it's the driver's job to capitalise on those opportunities, and he did so with a lot of skill.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So that was the Russian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton comes away victorious. We finished 6th place. Pierre Gasly managed to beat Max Verstappen due to his issues. Max only drops to P9 though. Butler finishes in 10th, rounds out the points. George Russell unfortunately misses out on points. He finishes in 12th. Two Renaults really struggling down the bottom there, so not a good time for them in this sport. Devin Butler could be potentially moving to Renault as we saw last time, so probably wouldn't want to move to that team at the minute because they look like they are not in a good way at all. For us, 51 points so far this year. It's been a good season, but Perez has outscored us, unfortunately. So, yeah, that hasn't been ideal. But we are 6th place now in the Constructors, hopefully trying to beat McLaren and defending off Alfa Romeo. Racing Point probably have 4th place sewn up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the top. Lewis Hamilton probably has brought himself within a chance of the championship. I believe he's about 38 points behind, so he has a chance to maybe win the title if he can really end the season off positively for Mercedes. They can give him some upgrades, but Bottas will be Mercedes' main challenger, which is not what we're used to seeing, obviously, in recent times, with obviously Leclerc in the box seat now for Ferrari, and Vettel, who's led the championship all year, slipped a second, but he's still obviously within a chance of. We have another new contract negotiation here, and this time I'm able to set up the contract nicely to hit exactly where our value is. So that's probably the first time I've done that on the first try, and even to just get where my current value is, that's I thought was a good job by me there. As now moving to the R&D tree, I've decided to stop the chassis and aerodynamics for this year. I'm just going to try and consolidate as many engine parts as possible. I'm not sure what's going to happen by consolidating these, but that's the plan for now. We're able to manage to do 2, and I also got some resource on the efficiency, the quality control, because it said it could help, because those parts could potentially fail So I just thought, just in case, we'll try and reduce that chance of failure. So that's what we've done there. Hopefully it helps improve our chances for next year, and makes our engine superior to the rest of the teams on the grid. I do plan to do another season for Toro Rosso at this stage, so just to see how far we can take him up the grid, and yeah, just to see what happens. So normally this is where I'd say I'd end the episode, but I've actually got something to show you from the next weekend in Russia.
Recent changes to the driver lineup. At key points in a season, drivers who are due to end their current contracts may choose to move between teams, or even go into retirement. I'll send you an email each time a move occurs to keep you abreast of any recent changes.
So when I normally finish a race weekend, I do sim to the next week. And for you eagle-eyed viewers, you would have noticed sitting across from me wasn't Alexander Albon anymore. It was, in fact, Sergio Perez sitting across from me. As we go down here, we've seen that Sergio Perez has been brought in to replace Alexander Albon at Toro Rosso, who has been let go by Toro Rosso, and Danny Kvyat has been brought in to Racing Point to replace Sergio Perez. So Danny Kvyat, who we replaced at the start of the season, was out of a drive and now has a drive at Racing Point, and Sergio Perez has decided to leave Racing Point, which is unbelievable. And now, so that's going to be juicy. So from the next race onwards, Perez is our teammate, Kvyat at Racing Point. Now looking at the graph here, Ferrari have once again jumped Mercedes. There's a bit of a gap to Red Bull, but we were 4th best car, and now we are down to the 7th best car. So that's just how close week to week it is, but we're not going to be upgrading any further this season. So look at that, Sergio Perez in the Toro Rosso uniform. So that's how that is for the rest of the year, as we had to pick a new rival, and I've decided to pick Lance Stroll in the Racing Point, his former teammate. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.